The exercise files for today's course are located in the video description below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Welcome to Microsoft Excel for Administrative Assistants. You're learning with Mo Jones, IT professional and educator. This course is ideal for executive assistants, personal assistants, administrative assistants, or anyone that is in that role requiring information to be organized, analyzed, protected, and most importantly, professionally presented in Microsoft Excel. So if this is what you're looking for, then this course is just for you. This is what we'll explore today. We'll take a look at managing data with Excel tables. We'll take a look at how we can present data in Excel. We can visualize the data and some other presenting tools that we can use as well. We'll take a look at a few efficiency tools, and we'll also take a look at analyzing data in Excel with the use of a pivot table. A great way to just condense all the information. And we want to be able to protect and share a workbook as well. So this is what we'll be covering through this course. We'll have 5 parts here to cover. So go ahead and open up file number 1 and come right back.
Looking to support our channel and get a great deal? Become a member today to unlock ad-free videos. That's right, your favorite courses without a single ad. Interested in a specific video? Purchase one of our ad-free courses individually. Looking for even more? Gain access to exams, certificates, and exclusive content at LearnitAnytime.com. More information can be found in the video description below.
Welcome to part 1. We'll take a look at managing data with Excel tables. We'll start by creating an Excel table, formatting the table, and we'll take a look at just a few features of the table, and we may need to convert the table back to our normal range. So we'll take a look at that as well. Let's go ahead and open up file number 1. And we have a worksheet in here, just managing data with tables. So here's a data set that you may need to manage. You may be presented with this information, and you may be asked to just keep a running list of the tasks, who the task is assigned to, and also the status of the particular task as well. So it's best to keep track of this by using a table. One of the issues, if I were to add a new task in here, let's say task ID, and maybe I'll go for the same type of, sorry about that. Maybe I'll go for the same type, conduct market research. I'll say this is low. And let's say the due date is going to be March 25th. We can see right away the formatting is not going to be consistent because we're working with the list. And I can say not started. I can assign this to someone else in here if I want to. And here we get to go. So as this list continues to grow, and I scroll down, I can see I kind of lose my headers here once I scroll past row 1. So what we want to do, let's go ahead and convert this into a table. To convert this to a table, I'm going to click on anywhere inside of the list here. If you feel more comfortable, you can highlight all of the data and then click on the Insert tab. And right here is the table command. Right? So tables make it easy to sort, filter, and format data within a sheet. It's a great way to organize your data. So let's use that. Once I click there, it's asking me where's the data for my table. And I can see it's already selecting all of my data. I do have headers. So here are my headers here at the top: task ID, task name, priority, due date, status, assigned to, and comments. So I'll go ahead and press OK. If I do not check this off, it's going to add just some weird headers, just column A through G. So I want to use that top row as my headers or my fields for my table. Go ahead and press OK. And here you go. So we can see already an immediate benefit of using the table. We have some nice colors in here that we can use. Now, if we take a look at the ribbon, we'll notice that when we're interacting with the table, we have a table design. And from there, we can go ahead and change the table style. I like the way this one looks, but I'll go ahead and choose another style. Let's see what other styles are available. If I click on the drop down here, we have light tables, medium tables, and dark tables. You can hover. You'll be able to see what that looks like. So I'll go ahead and I'll go for this one here. So here is my table. Now, what if I want to make some other changes to the table? For example, what if I want to move this entire column to in between column A and column B? So I'd like for the task ID and then who it's assigned to and then the task name. Let's see if I can do that. I'm going to highlight that column. I'll place my mouse on the border here until I get that 4-way crosshair. Let's see if I can drag this over. And look at that. It looks like we can. And that's pretty cool. So we can actually do that. Now, we could not do that with a list. If we tried to do that with a list, it would not work. It would just basically overwrite the information. So we can move columns around in our table if we want to. Now, if I want to add any other detail in here, let's see, what other detail would I want to add to this list? Maybe I'd like to add a co-owner. So let's see, I'll go ahead and right click on this column here. And so I can insert a table column to the left, which is pretty cool. Let's see what other table tools are available. We'll take a look at these later. But for now, I just want to insert a table column to the left. So notice it's not just inserting a column. So if I right click and insert a column here, I can do that. But I want to specifically insert a table column to the left. And here it is. We can see it's part of the table. And in here, I'll just type co-owner. So who's the co-owner of this particular task? I'll go ahead and press enter and I'm good to go. So pretty nice so far. I'll go ahead and delete this column so I can see my instructions over here to the right. So we're able to convert our list into a table. We're able to organize the columns as well. And now I can go ahead and enter some data in here. Well, let's go ahead and add another record. At least let's see if the table will do anything special for us. So task ID number 9. And look at that. We can see as soon as I start entering another record, the table automatically expands. It's behaving like a small database file. So now I'll go ahead and put some information in here. So I'll put Mo Jones in here. And I'll go for the same, conduct market research. This is low. I'll put in the date. We get consistent formatting when you're working with a table. No need to format the corresponding records. And for this one, I'll say not started and to be announced. So no comments in here yet. So pretty cool. So go ahead and insert your table. Go ahead and move some of those columns around. Go ahead and add a column for the co-owner as well. And come right back. We'll take a look at removing duplicates and the formatting conditionally. Now, in our first example, we had data already. We already had existing data, and we were able to convert that data into a table. Now, you can also just insert a table. So if I just click on a blank cell, I can insert a table. And I don't have any headers here. I can just go ahead and press OK. And now here is my first column and my first row. So I can simply come in here and I can type in my task ID. If I go to the right and I add my assigned to, press enter, we can see the table continues to grow as we continue to add either headers or records down here. So you don't have to start with data. You can insert the table and then add your data there as well. I'll just go ahead and add one more here and I'm good to go. So now I can add my task ID. I'll just go with the first name here. And I'll just keep it simple. I'll just say task 1. And now I can come in here and I can go ahead and assign other. Right. And there we go. So just a quick heads up, you don't have to always convert. You don't have to start with the list first. You can insert your table and then add your content. I'm going to remove this table. So if I click on the table design tab here, one of the things that I can do is I can either resize the table, because right now it's basically taking up from cell A14 down to D16. So I can resize it. Maybe I don't want the task name in there. I just want the first three. So I can resize the table and I can just highlight. I just want this detail in here. And so you can see this part of the table has been removed. So now I can delete that. The other thing that we can do is we can also convert the table back to a range. I'm going to undo that last change. I'll just press Control-C. So what if we don't want the table anymore? We want to be able to put this back to just a regular list or a range. To do that, if I click on the Table Design tab, over in the Tools command group, I have the command right here to convert back to a range. Okay. It says convert this table into a normal range of cells. All the data is preserved. Now you may be asking, well, why would you want to convert a table back to a range? Well, maybe you want to copy and paste the data to another source, right? Or another platform without carrying over all of the properties here of the actual table. You can do that. There's some Excel functions or tools that don't work on an actual table. So you may want to work with a list. So let's go ahead. I can also right click. We saw this earlier. When you right click on the table, here's some quick table tools. And one of them is to convert to a range. So it's the same thing. I can either click here to convert it back to a range, or I can click on the table design tab. I find it quicker just to right click and I can get here pretty quickly. So I'll go ahead and just right click and I'll convert this to a range. And it says, do you want to convert the table to a normal range? Are you sure you want to do that? We're going to miss you. No, I'll go ahead and say yes. And there we go. So we can see it's back to a range. We still have the colors in here in the formatting. Those filters are gone at the top, but this is no longer a table. Right? So now what I can do is I can just remove all the fill colors. I can say no fill, and there you go. So that's how we can convert a table back into a range. Let's take a look at some table tools. When I click on the table, I can click on the Table Design tab, and over to the far left in the Tools command group, I have Remove Duplicates. Now, this is a useful tool because in this case, if we take a look here on row 4 and also on row 11, we have the same data that was entered. So maybe we forgot that we already, included the task for Emily, and we kind of made a mistake here and we just kind of added it here. So if we were to take a look at that, we may not catch it right away as this list continues to grow. Again, we've kept it small so we can just see how the table works. But as this continues to grow to 100, maybe even 500, it's very difficult to locate those duplicates. It's important to use IDs. So in this case, we can look up the ID column and see if there are indeed any duplicates in here. And this will allow us to remove those duplicates. But before I do that, let's take a look at the filters here. Right. One of the tools that comes with the table is the filter. So you'll notice that every header has a filter. This allows us to filter the data so we can sort or we can filter the data there. So if I click on, let's say, the status column here, I want to see all of my tasks that have been completed. So I'll simply select completed. And this shows me the 2 tasks here that have been completed, one by Jane Smith and one by Sarah Lee. So pretty cool. Well, I want to go ahead. I can even take it further. maybe I'll go ahead and let's see how many tasks have been completed by Jane Smith. And there you go. It's a great way to quickly filter to see how many tasks have been completed by Jane Smith. I'm going to clear those filters. So I'll just click on that filter icon there and clear the filter from the status. Okay, I'm going to click on Assign To, and let's see how many tasks have been assigned to Emily Johnson. So we can see 2 tasks have been assigned to Emily Johnson. And in fact, it's a duplicate. It's the same information, the same task ID, task name, all the information is in here as well. But again, we may not see that right away. So let's run the Remove Duplicate tool. I'm going to click on Remove Duplicates. And here is the dialog that appears. It says to delete duplicate values, select one or more columns that contain duplicates. Well, I only want to search for duplicate task IDs. So I'll go ahead and press OK. And let's see what happens. It says 1 duplicate value found and removed, and we have 9 unique values remain. Note that counts may include empty cells, spaces, etc. So I'll go ahead and press OK. And you can see what it did. It recognized that we had a duplicate on row 4 and row 11. So it kept the record on row 11. I'm sorry, kept the record on row 4 and deleted the record or removed the record that was on row 11. So that is what the duplicate remover does. It accepts the first record and deletes any other corresponding records with that same criteria. Go ahead and check for duplicates. Feel free to add several duplicates in this data set. You can just add the same task ID, or you can simply copy the same record and go ahead and paste it on that last line. So you can just go ahead and paste. And that way you can just kind of trigger some duplicates in there. Go ahead and run the Remove Duplicate tool. Let's take a look at conditional formatting. Conditional formatting can be found in the Home tab in the Styles command group. And conditional formatting is going to conditionally format your cells. We can change the fill color or the font color or the effect based on a condition. If you take a look at highlight cell rules, we'll see that we already have a tool in here to check for duplicate values. Now, earlier we ran the Remove Duplicate tool. It did its job, but maybe I don't want it to automatically remove a duplicate record. Maybe I just want to be notified if there is a duplicate, and maybe I can just simply make a change. Maybe I forgot to, put the correct number in there. So we can run the duplicate values conditional formatting to give us an indication if there are any duplicates. So the first thing we need to do when running conditional formatting is you need to select the data that you want to check for duplicates in, or run your conditional formatting. So again, I'm concerned about the task ID column, so I'm going to highlight all those task IDs. And then under conditional formatting, it's a highlight cells rule. And right here is duplicate values. So I'll go ahead and click there. And you can see right away, if there's a duplicate, it's going to fill that red with a light red fill with dark red text. I can make a yellow fill with dark yellow text, or light red fill. A lot of different things that I can do. I'll use light red fill. I'll go ahead and press OK. So now we can see that we indeed have a duplicate right here. So now instead of just removing row 11 completely, I can just go ahead and change this. So maybe this is number 10. And maybe this is just a, another, let's say I'll go for follow-up with clients, and I'll change the due date as well. So I'll put 3/10 as the due date, and this is not started. And I'll go ahead and remove the detail here. So a really nice tool. If you have any existing duplicates or future duplicates, conditional formatting will reveal it for you. If I trigger another duplicate here, we can see it automatically alerts me that we indeed have a duplicate. Well, what else can conditional formatting do? Well, we have a lot of different options in here. Let's see, we have the dates in here. If I click on conditional formatting, we have some data bars. We have some color scales in here. Doesn't really work too well right now. We don't really have any good variety in here. But let's see. What if I just want to highlight all of my tasks that have been completed? Instead of filtering and hiding all the records, I can just get some color coding to show me what has been completed. So for that, I can use conditional formatting. And if the value in the cell is equal to a certain phrase, so I'm looking for completed, I'll click on equal to, and I'll just type completed. And as you can see, if it's completed, we have a light red fill with dark text. Maybe I'll go for a green fill with dark text, indicating that it's completed. And there we go. So pretty cool, right? So other things that we can do, what about by, let's say, priority? I want to highlight all of my high priority items as red. So same thing as before, if it's equal to high, then I do want that red. Let's see if there's another, maybe just red text. I'll go for red text. I'll go ahead and press OK. So conditional formatting is a really nice tool. Again, instead of hiding all of the records that do not meet that condition, we can just get some basic formatting in there to give us a quick visual. So now you can imagine just kind of scrolling through your data set, you can quickly see which values are, calling your attention. So in this case, we can clearly see the high priority items in here. I'm going to change this. Maybe I do want the cell color in here as well. So with conditional formatting, what I can do is I can manage the rules that are on this worksheet. So I'm going to click on Manage Rules. This shows me all the rules. Here are my 3 rules that are on this sheet. So I'm checking for duplicate values. I'm highlighting my completed tasks, and here is the one right here that I want to edit. So if the priority is high, I want to edit this rule. And here is the dialog box. Now, conditional formatting is a really nice tool. There's a lot of conditions already built in. So it's a matter of just clicking and seeing, well, what is it that I'm looking for? What is the condition? And then what is the formatting? This one is formatting only cells that contain the phrase high. Here's the preview of the format. If I want to change that, I can click right here on Format. And I want the fill color to be red. And I want the font color to be white. Go ahead and press OK. Here's a preview of what it's going to look like. I'll go ahead and press OK. And then I can press Apply. And there we go. So now it's a little easier to see it. Here are my high priority items, and here are my completed tasks as well. Welcome to part 2. We'll focus on presenting data in Excel. We'll start off by creating some charts and some Sparklines and integrating SmartArt infographics as well. Let's go ahead and open up file number 2. So here's my file number 2. And we have 2 worksheet tabs this time. We have creating charts, and we also have printing and presenting. Now here's some data. Now we're tracking some data in here. This is a typical type of data set that will be presented. High level breakdown by month. So how many scheduled meetings did we have in the month of January? How many tasks were completed in the month of January? How many new projects did we have? What were the total travel expenses for that month? And what were some miscellaneous expenses as well? So we want to be able to visualize this data. We're tracking a lot of different things: meetings, tasks, projects, expenses. And so it can be a little difficult to read this table. So if we can insert a few charts to tell a story about this data, then we are good to go. Thankfully, if I click on the Insert tab here, I have what's called Recommended Charts. So it's going to take a look at my data set and it's going to recommend a chart that will fit best with my data here. As a matter of fact, if you hover over recommended charts, that's exactly what it says. Select data in your worksheet and click this button to get a customized set of charts that we think will fit best with your data. Well, I'll go ahead and click there. And this chart is going to be a little interesting because we have a lot of different numbers in here, right? So we have from the scale of 3 to about 40, and then we have up to 800. So there's some variance in here. I'll go ahead and choose this very first one. So here's the line chart, and those lines, we just need to follow them there. We have another one, which is a clustered column. This one may, in my opinion, this one looks a little better. I'll go for the clustered column. Right. Here's some other ones down here as well. Here's a stacked area chart. But regardless of whichever one you insert, you can see it's going to be a little difficult to read the amount of new projects in comparison to the higher numbers for our expenses. So I'll go ahead and I'll choose the second one here, the clustered column, and let's press OK. And here's my chart. I'll go ahead and make this a little bigger to kind of see what this looks like here. Let's see if I can make sense of this. All right, so I can clearly read this number, travel expenses for January. Here are the miscellaneous expenses, but then it gets a little difficult to read these numbers down here. I can see 25 completed tasks, but it gets very, very difficult. So what I would like to do, instead of displaying all of this information, maybe I'll create just one chart that focuses on the, let's say, the scheduled meetings and maybe the completed tasks. So to do that, I can just click on Select Data. So once I click on my chart, here's the Chart Design tab. And I can select the data that I want the chart to display. So I'll click on Select Data. And right now, so I don't want the travel expenses. I don't want the miscellaneous expenses. I just want the number of scheduled meetings. And you know what? Let's try scheduled meetings, completed tasks, and new projects. Let's see how those look. I'll go ahead and press OK. And this chart looks a lot better, right? So still a little difficult to read the new projects in comparison to the higher numbers. So I could remove that one as well. Let's try another chart type. I'll click on Change Chart Type. Let's see if there's another one that gives us a better view. Not really. They all kind of look the same in terms of the correlation between the data. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and remove that detail. Right? So I'll click on Select Data again, and I'm going to remove New Projects. Press OK. There we go. So I'll go ahead and type my title in this box here, and I'll just call this Scheduled Meetings and Completed Tasks. Right. So there we go. I can hover and I can get the detail right in here as well. When you're working with a chart, some pretty cool things that you can do. Once you click on the chart, you'll notice that you'll have a Chart Design tab. Well, what I can do here is I can choose a quick layout. I can change the colors, and I can also go ahead and change the chart style as well. I'm going to change the chart style first. Here's style number 2. So we can see style number 2 places the numbers in a vertical stack so we can see the numbers there. Here is style number 3. Here's style number 4. Little gradient there. Here's my personal favorite, style number 8. And some other ones that are in here as well. I do want to change the color as well, so I'll click on Change Colors. And maybe I'll go for this. Let's see, maybe these colors here. I'll go for that. So that looks pretty good. Maybe I want to move things around. Right? Maybe I want the legend to be over to the right. Maybe I don't want these numbers up here. or maybe I want to get rid of the axis up here on the left. Well, I can use quick layouts for that. So layout 1 pushes the legend to the right. There are no data labels on the top. Right, here's layout 3. So many different layouts to choose from. I'll go ahead and choose. I will choose, let's see. I'll go for, this one doesn't have the legend. I'll go for this one. I'll go for layout 1. That looks good. All right, I'll go ahead and resize that. So go ahead and insert a chart. Go ahead and select the data that you want to be displayed. And once you're done, go ahead and choose a quick layout, change the colors, change the chart styles as well, and come right back. Let's go ahead and create another quick chart here. Let's create a chart that showcases the expenses. So just like I did before, I'll click on the Insert tab, and I'm going to insert a recommended chart. This one is I already have a column chart, so I'll go for a line chart. That's perfectly fine. And just like I did before, make this just a little big. Actually, that's fine. So I'll go ahead and just choose the data that I want. I'll click on Select Data. And for this one, I just want the expenses. Travel expenses and miscellaneous expenses. I'll go ahead and press OK. And there we go. Like before, I can choose a quick layout. I'll go for layout number 2. And I can go ahead and give it a quick style as well. I can even change the colors. This one looks pretty cool. I'll go for this one. So style number 2. Now, what's really nice about these charts as well, on the right, we notice that we have chart filters. So if I click here, these 2 buttons here, the chart elements, you can turn things off or on, like the title. The paintbrush allows us to choose an existing style. So it's basically the same thing as the styles here and the colors. Right? So we can actually do that. But then we have the filter. The filters are really nice. What if I just want to focus on my expenses for the first quarter? I can choose January, February, and March. And once I press apply, there we go. We can see the chart now has been updated to reflect Q1. So I'll give this an appropriate title. I'll say Q1 expenses. And there we go. That's a nice looking chart. Now, you can do other things with that chart as well. If you click on the Format tab, you can change your own background color if you want to. So you can do that. You don't have to stick with the existing styles in there. So I'll go for this. I'll go for this color here. Right, there we go. Let's create one more chart. Now this one, the only other field in here we have not created a visual for is for the new projects. So for this one, actually, I'm going to use, let's see. You know what, that's fine. Let's create a quick visual from here. Since this is only one series, we may be able to use a pie chart for this one. So I'm going to click on my Insert tab again, Recommended Charts, and I'll click on All Charts, and I'll choose the pie chart here. Maybe I'll go for a 3D pie chart. I'll go ahead and press OK. And again, the idea is I just want to capture specific data. So I just want to focus on new projects. I'll go ahead and press OK. And here's my chart visual for new projects. You can see it actually automatically names it for me. And this is interactive, right? So here are the different months. And there we go. Let's see if I can give it another style here. This one's nice and vibrant. I'll go for that one. Do I have any other colors I can use? I'll go for these colors here. And now it's just a matter of kind of reorganizing these and kind of reshaping them so they can all fit on the same screen. I'm okay with this one. Let's see. Just scroll down just a little bit more. And I can do that. All right, there we go. So looking pretty good. I can see all 3 of my charts. And I'm good to go here. let's create another type of graphic. We'll create two more. We'll insert a sparkline, and then we'll also create an infographic. Well, right now, what I would like to do is to create a trend analysis to see how we're trending in terms of scheduled meetings. So are we having meetings more in the beginning of the year or towards the end of the year? So I'll put a little placeholder here for, I'll just call this meeting trends. And then I'll go ahead and insert my sparkline. Now my sparklines can be found right here. So I can either express it as a line chart or a column chart. It's going to fit into a cell. So just envision a chart like this that fits nicely into a cell. That's what a sparkline is. I'll choose the cell. I'll click on line here. We can change it to column a little later, but for now I'll click on line. And it's just asking me, well, where do I want to place the actual sparkline, which is going to be right here. And where's the data that I want to use? Well, it's going to be all of my scheduled meetings. So I'll simply just highlight that range there. And then I'll go ahead and press OK. And there's my little meeting trend. We can see that we had a kind of a spike here towards the end of the year, toward a little past the middle of the year. I'm going to make this cell wider so I can see it better. And I'll also make the row higher as well. And there we go. So that is an accurate depiction. And we can see we had a big spike in meetings, right? Towards the middle there, we jumped to 30. And so there we go. Now, Sparkline, we can do things like highlight the high point, the low point, and we can also change it as well. So we have just a few other types of visuals in here that we can create. So I'll go for an orange. And let's see, I'll put maybe a dark background there, like that. So we do have the flexibility to kind of make some changes there if we want to. I'll go for that. So there is my little spark line. I'll remove the fill color. And gives us a nice little trend. So we can create trends from any data set that we want to. So that is how we can insert a spark line. If I want to change the spark line to a column, I can do that. So we can see we have a nice little mini chart here in the cell that looks really, really nice. So pretty nice. This way we don't have to worry about, moving it around, reshaping it, trying to get it to align. It fits nicely right inside of that cell. So go ahead and insert a spark line. You can insert as many as you want and come right back. Let's create a SmartArt graphic here. So instead of inserting a chart, I can create a nice little infographic. If I click on the Insert tab, here is where I will find SmartArt. So to the left of our charts, we have SmartArt here. I'm going to insert a SmartArt graphic. I'll put it over here somewhere. And typically they need to be pretty big so that you can really see them. So I'll do my best to make it just kind of fit in here. So what do I want to create a SmartArt graphic for? I do want to capture the month. So I'll go ahead and capture the month column here. And then maybe I'll go ahead and capture the, let's say, completed tasks, right? Bigger number there. So I'll go for the month and completed tasks. So I'll start by just adding copying and pasting my months here. And then I'm going to click on the Insert tab. I'll go ahead and insert a SmartArt graphic. If you've used SmartArt before in Word and PowerPoint, it works the same way here in Excel. How do you want to express your data? It can be a list, a process, a cycle, a hierarchy. I'll go for a process because I do want some type of timeline in here. So here's a few timelines that I can use. Maybe I'll go for this one here. And I'll go for this one, a circle process. I'll go ahead and press OK. And so here is my graphic. It's waiting for me to enter information in here. On the left, we have the text pane. If you're not seeing this, Typically it's off by default. Just click on the small arrow right here, and this will open up the text pane for us. And then we can go ahead and add our data. As we add our data in here, whether it's a level 1 item or a level 2 item, it's going to show up on our infographic here. Right? So level 1 typically has a shape associated to it, and level 2 either has a smaller shape or just indented text. I'll click here. I'll go ahead and delete all of these graphics. Or I can just press Control V to paste my months in there. And let's see. So I have January, February, March, April, May. Let's see if I can get December. Okay, December, this one does not allow 12, so that's okay. I'm going to change it to another type. So here I have a basic timeline. So once you insert the SmartArt graphic, if you click on the SmartArt Design tab, we can change the layout. So I'll change the layout because this one does not allow 12. It only allows 11 level 1 items. So here's a basic timeline. This one allows 12, so I'm good to go. So now what I need to do is to add the numbers here. So I'll press the Enter key. And so for my completed tasks for January were 25, but this needs to be a level 2 item. So I can either press the Tab key or I can use the demote to basically push it over to the right. So for this one, I'll press demote, and you can see it looks pretty small now. We'll fix this a little later. And I'll go ahead and enter the values for each of my months here. So for February, we had 30. Okay, so I'm good to go. I have all of my numbers in here. I'll go ahead and close this out. Now again, these graphics are meant to be really big. So you can see it's kind of difficult to see it right now because it's kind of small. But what we want to do, we just want to focus on the, let's say the quarter 1 items here. So I'm going to expand my pane here. And I'm just going to remove all of the other entries. So this way I only have January, February, and March. So we can clearly see those numbers here. Let's see, I'll go ahead and change it to another type of graphic. All right, so here are the other different layouts that we can use. But I'll show you a pretty cool one. If I go down to that last row, we have this graphic right here. So it's an equation. So I'll use the equation option here, and I'm going to give it a background color. It's kind of seeing all those cells behind it. So I'll give it a fill color. I'll just go for, let's see. I'll just go for a white background. Okay, so here it is. So I'm going to open up the text pane again. So we have January plus February equals March. Well, that's not what I want. I'm going to go ahead and add another level here, and I'm going to promote this to level 1, and I'll just say this is quarter 1. Right, so we can see what's happening here. 25 in January plus 30 in February plus 28 in March is going to give us our quarter 1 totals here. So I'll go ahead and add those numbers together. Okay, so we get 83. So I'll go ahead and add 83 right here. And there we go. So there's our infographic here. I'll just put this to, I'll just call this Q1. I don't want that text wrapping there. So here's our Q1. Let's see if I can center all of this data. So I'll highlight it, and then I'll click on the center align option here. And so that looks pretty good. So there's our infographic, just another way to kind of showcase our data. And let's see, if I click on the SmartArt Design tab, I can change the colors. I'll go for a colorful. That looks pretty nice. And I can also change the style. So just different shades or a glare or a gloss or a gradient. I'll go for the intense effect. And there is my SmartArt graphic. Right. So check out the SmartArt graphic library. There are a lot of options available. As you can see, go ahead and create an infographic and come right back. For part 2, we'll take a look at advanced printing, and we'll take a look at how we can create headers and footers as well. So I'm going to go back to my file here, and now I'm on the printing and presenting worksheet tab here. And if we scroll down, we can see we have a few records in here. We're going to freeze some of the data in here, right? We're also going to insert headers and a footer, and we're going to export this file to a PDF. So here's our fictitious, school contact list. We have the student ID, the student, the grade, and we have their emergency contact info, their parent info in here as well. So quite a bit. We can see we can make our way all the way over to column Q. So when you're presenting, or even just working with this data, once you scroll beyond row 2, you lose the headers, right? So we have no real information. Is this the parent phone or the student phone? We don't really know what's going on here. Is this the enrollment date or the date of birth? And once we scroll to the right, we have no way of knowing which student's record we're working on because the student ID and name has disappeared. So for that, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and freeze the columns. So if I click on the View tab here, I have the Freeze Panes command in here. And if I click on, I can freeze the pane. This is based on where my cursor is located. I can freeze the top row, or I can freeze the first column, right? Well, if I freeze the top row, that doesn't help because my headers are not in the top row. So what I'm going to do, I want to freeze row 2. Now I have to select the row below the one that I want to freeze. So if I want to freeze row 2, I need to select row 3. So I'll click on Freeze Panes. And now we can see as we're scrolling vertically, we can always see our header information in here as well. Now remember, we can also convert this to a table, and that will take care of that as well, right? So I'll go ahead and create a table from this here. I'll click on Insert, Table, and I'll press OK. So now when you scroll, the headers replace the column letters. So that's good. But we still have the issue of scrolling to the right. So we want to freeze the first 2 columns here. So we can always see the student ID and the student name. So if I want to freeze the column B, I need to click on the column to the right. So I'll click on the View tab and I'll click on Freeze Panes here. And I'm going to click on Freeze Panes. So this will freeze column A and column B. And now as I scroll to the right, I can always see that record that I'm working on. So the table is taking care of the headers for us, and freezing column A and B, or the student ID and student name, that allows us to present this data in here. So go ahead and freeze that row and freeze that column. I would recommend inserting a table from this data that takes care of the headers for us. And then just simply need to go ahead and freeze columns A and column B. Our student contact list is looking pretty nice in here. We can scroll vertically or horizontally. It's really well organized. Let's go ahead and let's add a little detail in here. Let's go ahead and insert an image. So I'll click on the Insert tab here, and let's go ahead and insert a picture. We'll insert a simple picture of a classroom. Now, when you're inserting pictures, you have 2 options. You can either place the picture in the cell, so the picture will fit nicely inside of the cell that you have selected. And the benefit of doing that is that you can simply just resize the cell to make the picture bigger. You don't have to worry about, inserting rows or columns and moving your data around. You can just manage the picture right there in the cell. The other one is to place the picture over the cells. So it's going to be a really big picture. Instead of fitting inside of a cell, it's going to be pretty big. And then you will need to resize the picture to kind of get it to fit the way that you want to. We'll try both. Let's see which one works better. So I'll go ahead and just insert the picture first over the cell. And I'll look for a stock image. And I want to look for a picture of a classroom. And let's see, I'll go for this one here. This one looks pretty nice. Right. So here's my picture. So now I'll go ahead and resize it here. I want to make it so we can at least see it. So if I place it there, I will need to make some changes. I can, just kind of push down row 1 here. So I can push my data down like that. And now I can probably go ahead and center my picture up here. Now we do have picture tools. So if you click on the picture format tab, right? So I can go ahead and crop the picture if I want to. I can apply some picture styles if I want to as well. And I do want this picture to be a little wider. So I'll just simply crop the top portion of it. I don't really want to though. That detail in the back looks pretty nice. But the reason why I would want to crop it is because now I can make the picture wider. Right, so now I can make it a little wider, make it look more like a header. It has that nice wide orientation there as well. And then I can just remove or add a fill color to kind of get rid of those details there as well. So that looks pretty good. So I can go ahead and do that. And we have different picture styles in here. So simple frame, shadow effect, even just other details in here that I can use. Here's the bevel rectangle that I can use. So that looks pretty good. So you open an Excel sheet and you click on there, nice picture. So it looks pretty nice. So I can do that, or I can just go ahead and move it over to the left portion here. Now I do have a small button right here that says place in cell. So what I can do is place the picture inside the top left corner cell. So if I click here, we can see it placed the image in that cell. So when I insert a picture and place it in the cell, that's exactly what it does. It places it in that cell for me. And now if I want to interact with the picture, I can go ahead and make the column wider. And I can go ahead and let's see if I can center it. Well, it's already kind of filling out that. So I can do that if I want to. I can also merge, right? So if I wanted to merge it to column, to that column as well, I can say merge and center. So that's another way to just kind of make the picture a little bigger. Let's see, I'll come up just a little bit there. Right. So pretty cool. I'm going to unmerge it. And if I click on it, I can move it as well. So if I just click on so just like text, we can drag it from one place to the next. So that is how we can insert our picture. So that looks pretty good. Okay, well, let's go ahead and take a look at the print settings, but go ahead and insert your picture first and then come right back and we'll get ready to export this to a PDF. Let's get this document ready for printing. Whether we want to print on paper or export to PDF, the first thing we need to do is click on the File tab and click on Print. And once we click on Print, we can see the very first thing it's asking us to do is choose our printer. I do want to convert this to a PDF, so I'll use the Microsoft Print to PDF option here. And then we have the option here in terms of, well, what do we want to print? Do we want to print the active sheet or the entire workbook? We can see right now it's only printing that second sheet with our contact list here as well. The other thing is we can choose the orientation. Right now we're showing the landscape orientation, so it's pretty wide. Makes sense for this data set. We can choose the paper size. And of course, we can use the scale to fit option here as well. So when we're exporting this to a PDF, this is what it will look like. So we want to make sure that everything is okay from this standpoint here. So if I choose to print the entire workbook, we can see here is the first data set. spanning over 2 pages, 3 pages actually. And then we have the last one here. Everything is fit on 1 page. I'm going to go back to that first one here. Now let's see if I can fit the sheet on 1 page. And we can, it's just a little difficult to read. So I'll choose the landscape orientation, and that looks a lot better. Some other things I can do in here, maybe I want to show the grid lines. I can do that. I can also change the paper size. So for each sheet, you can have your own settings, right? So every sheet has its own formatting in terms of the paper size, the orientation, and the scaling option in here as well. Now this data looks a little difficult to read. We have a lot of data in here. So I could do a couple of things. I can probably go ahead and just make the text a little bigger and make the columns a little higher as well. So I'll go back here and let's see what I can do about this here. Okay, so the student ID, our picture is taking up this cell, so that's fine. I'll go ahead and leave that one alone. In terms of just making things fit more on 1 page, I have some cells in here, such as this emergency contact name. I'm going to wrap the text. So you can see it's already wrapping here. So now what I can do is I can just go ahead and make that column not as wide. And I have a lot of space vertically. So I'll just make my header row a little bigger there. And then wherever I have the opportunity to kind of do that, I can do that. So medical conditions, this can be 2 lines as well. I'm going to remove the filters as well. So I'll turn off the filters. And preferred language, that can be 2 columns. I'm sorry, two rows. Transportation method. So all these here, wherever I can just kind of regain some space, I'll go ahead and do that. And that looks pretty good so far. And whatever I can just regain here, I can do that. Well, let's see what that looks like. I'll go back to File. I'll go back to Print. And in this case, I just want to print the active sheet. So it looks a little better here. Now, this may look okay once we convert this to a PDF. I do want to maybe get rid of some of these grid lines in here. So I'll click on the Page Setup tab. Now on the Page Setup tab, this is where we can do things like insert a header and a footer. So I can insert a built-in header, such as the page number, the name of the document, the name of the worksheet. So they're all kind of in here for us already. Same thing for the footer. I can go ahead and insert some built-in footers in here as well. So I will go ahead and insert a footer, a header. The header will be, let's see, I'll go for, maybe I want the name of the document. I'll go for the name of the worksheet here. So worksheet. On the bottom, I'll have the page number that's being displayed. I'll click on the sheet button here. Maybe I don't want to see the grid lines. I'll turn them off. And let's just press OK. Let's see what that looks like. So we can see the visible header here. Here's the footer. The grid lines have been removed. So that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and convert this to a PDF. So I can also click on Export if I want to, or I can print to this PDF here. So it's the same thing. I'll click on Export. When you click on Export, we have the Create PDF option here. So I'll go ahead and click there. And it just asks me where I want to save this. So I'll call this Contact List. Why would you want to convert it to a PDF? Maybe your recipient does not have Microsoft Excel and you just want a flat format of the actual file, not for editing, but just for viewing. Okay, so I want to save this to my desktop here, and I can click on Options here. And here is the capability to print either the entire workbook, just the table, or the active worksheets. So I'll go ahead and click on Active Sheet and I'll press OK. And I'm going to publish this And this will open up in my PDF reader for me, which is my Microsoft Edge browser. And here is the PDF file. Right. So notice if we have any hyperlinks in here, we can actually click on them. But the good thing about the PDF is I can go ahead and I can make it as big as I want to fit on my page. And now I can go ahead and read it. So I can just continue to make it bigger. And then I can read the detail in here as well. So that is how we can just kind of set our document up so that we can either present or print the document in here. So feel free to go ahead and make some changes. If you want to maybe increase the font size in here, you can do that. When you go to the print dialog, you can also change the paper size to make sure that it fits properly. You can fit the sheet to one page, but go ahead and insert a header, insert a footer, and convert it to a PDF and come right back. Welcome to part 3. In part 3, we'll take a look at other tools. We'll go ahead and create a nice outline or like a home page for an Excel workbook. We'll also learn the data consolidation tool. We'll also take a look at the very useful text to columns option as well. Let's go ahead and open up file number 3. So here is my file number 3. And we have a couple of worksheet tabs on here. The very first one here is the outline. And we have some specific tasks. We're going to link to a sheet, link to a range, link to an external source. And we're going to use buttons that we can click on that allows us to get to these different options here as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a shape. So I'll click on the Insert tab. And I'm going to insert a shape. So I'll just go for a rounded rectangle here. And I'll go ahead and draw that. I'll put that about right here. I'll make it about that big. And this is a shape. So the great thing is we can type on shapes. So I'll go ahead and type on this and I'll just say go to, and I want to go to one of my sheets down here. So maybe I'll go to the East region. And then I'll go ahead and increase that font size there. And I'll also go ahead and center align that text. I'll make it bold. And there we go. So here's my little button here. Now it's not doing anything now. You know, if I try and click on it, it doesn't do anything. So what I want to do, I'm going to click on it. And if I click on the Insert tab, I can go ahead and insert a link. I can also press Control K. So this is pretty cool. I'll go ahead and click on link here. And I'm basically linking to this object that I have selected in my document. Right. Well, not linking to it. I'm going to convert this object into an actual link. Now, if you take a look here, I can link to a place in this document. Now, what is it looking for? It's looking for either a cell reference. It's looking for defined names. So notice I can see all of my worksheet tabs here. Here's the link to the South region, to the North region, and so forth and so on. Well, I want to link to the East region, so I'll click here on East region, and I'll simply press OK. So now when I click away from there, the next time I click on this button, it brings me to the East region worksheet tab. So that is pretty much how that works. Now I could have just inserted a link in a cell and accomplished the same thing. Here I can just go ahead and type the actual name that I want to link to. So I'll just say link to East region. And there we go. Once I press OK, that is also a clickable link. So it accomplishes the same thing. But I would prefer to just go ahead and use the button here that I've created. So I'll go ahead and delete this here. Now what I want to do, let's see if I can copy and paste this, and let's see if it preserves the link, and then I can just go ahead and change the actual text that's in here. I can also change the color as well. Now if I want to interact with this, I have to right click on it, and now I can go ahead and change the name. But what I want to do, I'll right click here, I'll copy this, and I can actually duplicate it as well. So I can press Control D a few times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's good. So now I can go ahead and just kind of space them out. Again, you need to be able to, you have to right click on them to be able to move them around. So I'll go ahead and do that here. Just want to space them out a little bit here. And let's see, place this one over here. Now you can align them however you want to. I'll just go ahead and kind of put them like this. There we go. So just a nice little capability to click on some buttons here. So now what I'll do, so this one is the East region, and this one here, this will be the, and I'll actually move them around. So this will be the East, this will be the South. So I'll change the text here. So I can just right click on it and I can say go to the South region. And then let's see, if I right click, I can actually edit the link if I want to. So I can edit the link to go to the South region. So you have two options. You can just create them individually, or you can copy and paste them or duplicate them, and then just edit the text and go ahead and edit the link as well. I'll just finish up these two. So this will be the, I'll go for, this one will be the North. So I'll say go to the North region. And then I'll go ahead and program that one as well. I'll go ahead and edit the link, and this will go to the North worksheet. I'll press OK. And then finally, this one will be for the West. So go to the West region. I'll also go ahead and edit the link to point to the West. And there we go. So here are my buttons. This one, I'll go ahead and program this one as well. So this will just be linked to, I'll say, consolidation report. And then I'll go ahead and edit the link here as well. And here's the consolidated expenses. So that's how we can link to different places in the document. I will add two more links here. This one will link to an external source. So I'll just say go to Learnit Training. And then I can just go ahead and insert the link there as well. We can see the text is already here. Now I want an existing file or web page. So down here, I'll go ahead and just put in the actual URL. So https www.learnit.com. I'll go ahead and press OK. And if I click on this link, this brings me right to learnit.com. So there we go. So you can link, just like in Word or in PowerPoint, you can link to a place in the document, or you can go ahead and link to an external source as well. So go ahead and either use text to link to your different worksheets here, or you can go ahead and insert a shape and program the shape so it functions more like a button. So we were able to link to a sheet, we're able to link to an external source, we're able to use buttons to click on to get to those links as well. Let's take a look at linking to a range. Now, let's say I want to, I'll go ahead and click on the East region here. And I just want to focus on the expenses for the office supplies in the East region. So here are my expenses for the East region. So here's the East, and here are the office supplies, and here are the week 1 through week 8, right? So the last 8 weeks of expenses here. Well, what if I just want to be able to just kind of select this particular range? Well, what I can do is I can actually name this range. Now there's other benefits to naming a range. Instead of going to the worksheet, we can just refer to that particular range. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to highlight the office supplies expenses for the East region, all 8 weeks here. And right here in the name box, I'm going to type the name of that range. And let's see what happens when I name that range here. So right here in the name box, I'll go ahead and name this as, let's see, I'll call this, it's going to be kind of difficult here. Let's see, East region, I'll say Office Supplies East. I'll just make it all one word here. I'll go ahead and press enter. And here is my Office Supplies East. Well, let's see, I'll come back to my outline here and I'm going to insert a link. So I'll click on the insert tab here. I'll click on the link and I do want to link to a place in the document. And now we can see here is the Office Supplies East range underneath the defined names. So I'll go ahead and click here. And I'll go ahead and press OK. And let's see what happens if I click on it. It brings me right to that worksheet and it highlights that particular range that I'm using here as well. So pretty cool. So that's how we can name a range. Here's another nice benefit of naming a range. If I just want to summarize that range, I can use the sum function. So I can say equals sum. Instead of going to the sheet and highlighting all these values, I can simply just type the name of the actual range. Notice here that I've highlighted that range and Excel says, hey, wait a minute. Cells B3 to I3 on the East region, that's the Office Supplies East range. So I can actually do that if I want to, and it gives me the number right here. Right. So I can say what is the sum of the office, and look at that. As soon as I start typing the range, I can see it shows up right here. So Excel is storing this in memory and I can run math on that actual range. So we're good to go. So go ahead and name a range, name any range of data you want to, and then go ahead and insert a link to that particular range. Let's take a look at the text to columns tool. Now, if you take a look at this data set here, you can see it does not look right. This happens often when you are exporting data from one system to the next. Sometimes it just does not look right. It's supposed to look like this. So here are our expenses for the South region. And we can see everything is in order. We can see in column B, we have the week 1, week 2, 3, until week 8. And we have our numerical values in here as well. If I go to the East region, everything looks okay. West region, everything looks okay. But the North region, everything is still in one column. So to fix that, we need to use a tool that's called text to columns, which is found on the data tab here. And what we can do is we can use these commas. So we can see the data is separated from with commas. So here is the expense header, week 1 header, week 2, and so forth and so on. So if we can tell Excel to, separate the columns based on the commas, then it will actually do that for us. It will actually insert a column everywhere that there is a comma. So we need to go ahead and use that tool. So let's see how this works. I'll go ahead and click here on my first set, and I'm going to run the text to columns tool. It says split a single cell of text into multiple columns. You can separate a column of full names into separate first and last name columns. And you can choose how to split it up, fixed with or split at each comma, period, or other character. We have commas. I'll go ahead and click on text to columns here. And I'll click on delimited here because I do have characters such as commas or tabs or space between each field. So I'll go ahead and click next. And here's the preview down here. We can see it's still in one column. As soon as I click on the comma here, notice it's inserting the columns wherever there is a comma. So that actually looks good. So I'll go ahead and press next. And then I'll just go ahead and click finish because I do want to overwrite the data that's here. So if I click finish, we can see it separated those into different columns based on the actual commas. Let's do that 2 more times. I'll go ahead and do that for the number here. Now we can see we have some other information in here. So we have the office supplies, and then we have the first number, and then we have our comma, and then another number in here. So this is pretty messy, but let's see if the text to columns can fix that for us. Okay, so again, I do have characters such as commas, so I'll go ahead and click next. It did save my settings from last time. If it did not, you can just make sure to check off the comma. And then now we can preview the data. Just make sure everything looks good. We'll fix these decimals in just a little bit. So I'll go ahead and click next. And by the way, if you had other separators in there, like maybe, the colon or the semicolon or /, you can simply just type it in this box right here. And that will take care of that for you. But I'll go ahead and click on next, and then I'll go ahead and click finish here. And there we go. I actually got rid of may have had the accounting format in here ahead of time, so we're good to go. So that's the text to columns. Now what I can also do is I can do a mass export. So I'll go ahead and grab my travel, maintenance, and food expenses, and I'll export these with one. So I'll click back on the data tab here. And here's text to columns. So again, you can either do it one cell at a time, or I can grab the entire column and export the entire data as well. I'll click on text to columns. Again, it's delimited. Fixed width here, I'll show you what fixed width is. Fixed width, you can just basically designate where you want to place the columns manually. But you can see it doesn't really apply here because there's no real consistency. So I'll choose delimited. I'll click next. Here is my comma, and we can see it's separating the data, 3 rows and several columns there. I'll go ahead and click next. I'll also go ahead and click finish. And there you go. Now I just need to do a little cleanup. I'll go ahead, and these row heights are really tall, so I'll fix those. I'll fix this column as well. And there we go. So now the east looks good, west looks good, north looks good, and the south region looks good as well. Let's take a look at another tool here. For this one, we'll take a look at the Data Consolidation Tool. Now this can be found on the Data tab over in the Data Tools command group. And here is our data consolidation. Let's mouse over it and see what it says. And it says, summarize data from separate ranges, consolidating the result in a single output range. For example, if you have a worksheet of expense figures for each of your regional offices, you might use a consolidation to roll up these figures into a corporate expense worksheet. That's exactly what we want to do. Here's our East region, expenses for the East region. We have the expense and then week 1 through week 8. In the West region, we have the same headers. So this is the key. We have to have the same headers for this to work properly. We can have different labels down here. In this case, they're all the same, I believe, but we have to have the same headers here. North and then in the South. So if I wanted to add up all of the expenses in week 1 for office supplies, I would need to add cell B3 on this worksheet, plus B3 on this worksheet, plus B3 on this worksheet, and then B3 on this worksheet as well. So in the end, we'll have about 32 formulas. I don't feel like writing 32 formulas. We actually have a tool that will consolidate these 4 sheets right here into one. It will do just that. It's going to add up all these numbers for us and place them on this report. I do have another line down here that's summarizing the totals for the column. So we'll get a nice final report consolidating all 4 of those reports into one. Now the first thing I need to do is I need to go ahead and highlight the report, right? So my report is going to span from cell A2 down to I6. So I'll go ahead and highlight that range first. And then I'll go ahead and click on my consolidation tool here. And I do want to summarize the data. I don't want the average or the count. There's some other functions in here, but I simply want to summarize all those reports into one, right? So I've collected my report from the East region. The final numbers are in for the West, the North, and the South. So now I can simply just go ahead and merge all of them together into a final report. So we can take a look at it here. So what I need to do, I need to go ahead and add our reference. Whenever we see the small up arrow, this reminds us that we can refer to a range or a sheet or a cell. So I'll go ahead and use that. I'll click it right here inside of that reference. And I want to add the East region. So I'll highlight the same range on the East region, which is A2 through I6. I'll click on Add. So that adds that to the report for me. Now I'll head on over to the West region. And it assumes that we have the same headers, the same type of data size or list size. So it's already highlighted for me. So I can just go ahead and add that. I'll head on over to the North. We can see the North is already selected. If it's not, you can just simply select it and click on Add. Okay, so I have East, North, and West. Now I need to go ahead and grab the South region. I'll go ahead and add that. I do want to use the labels in the top row and the left column. And I'm going to press OK, and let's see what happens. And we're getting we can see it's consolidated all the data for us. Whenever we see these numbers here, these hashtags, it just means that we need to expand the column so that we can see the data. The column's not wide enough. So I'll go ahead and just expand all these columns here. And there we go. So here are the totals. And then down here, we have the sum. So now here's our final report. We can say that all of our week 1 expenses were $5,374 across our 4 regions. Now what I can do over here is I can go ahead and put in our totals for our expenses. So I'll use the sum function over here, and I'll just summarize all these numbers. So here's our numbers for the office supplies. And then I can just grab the fill handle and copy that formula down. So now it's kind of looking like a pivot table, right? So here's our office supplies by week. Here are the totals to the right. And down here are the weekly totals. So we have our weekly totals down here. And then we have our totals by expense over here. So that is the consolidation tool. Let's do a quick test. So we have $1474.46 for office supplies. I'll do a little test right here. Let's go ahead and check it. So I'm going to add up all those numbers. So the East region for office supplies plus the West region B3 plus the North region B3 plus the South region B3. Really long formula up there. I'll go ahead and press enter. And there you go. So we get that 1474.46. So we can see the consolidation is working properly, but it's a much quicker way than having to write 32 different formulas in here. So that is the consolidation tool. Welcome to part 4. We'll analyze data in Excel using pivot tables. Pivot tables is a great way to gain insights into our data. We can ask questions about the data by filtering the data, and we can tell a story by creating chart visuals from our data as well. Let's go ahead and open up file number 4. And typically when we're analyzing data in a pivot table, we're dealing with a lot of rows, right? 500 rows, 5,000 rows, 10,000 rows even. But it's very common as well that you are given a high level data set. So we have some summaries in here in terms of, instead of just daily values. So this is a high level report that was given to you. And what are we looking at here? So in column A, we're tracking details for each month. So for the month of January, we're tracking the sales. How many new clients did we gain? We're keeping an eye on the client retention percentage. So how many clients are still with us versus how many we're losing. We're also keeping an eye on our own employee performance rating on the scale of 1 to 5. And we're also keeping an eye on the customer satisfaction. So this is a cohesive report pulling in from different reports. Either way, we have a lot of summaries in here. And it's very typical. The CEO may reach out to you and ask you to analyze the data and answer some questions. So for example, is there a correlation between customer satisfaction and client retention? Is there a correlation between, let's say, employee performance rating and sales? So we can use pivot tables to draw some conclusions here, right? So I'm going to go ahead and insert a pivot table from this data set. So I will click on the Insert tab. A good call out here, everything in here makes sense. All the data is complete. We don't have any data that's missing. So we are good to go. So no need to really clean up anything here. I'll go ahead and click on the Insert tab. So the first thing we need to do is just select our data set. If you want to, you can select the entire table. You don't need to. I'm just going to click on a single cell here. And on the Insert tab, I'm going to click on the top half of that pivot table command. And once I click here, it's just going to ask me, where do I want to place my pivot table? I can place the pivot table right here if I want to, or I can go ahead and place it on a new worksheet. I'll go ahead and place it on a new worksheet, and I'll go ahead and press OK. I do want to make some room for my charts and so forth and so on. So it's telling me right here to build a report, choose fields from the pivot table field list. My field list is over here. And we can see that we have our fields. And over here on the right, we have 4 boxes that we need to use to build out our pivot table. There's 2 ways to build out the pivot table. I can simply drag, for example, the sales into the values box. And that's going to give me the sum of all the sales. Once I have the sales in there, I can say, well, what were the sales by month? I can drag the month into the rows if I want to. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll go ahead and I can either click on the sales, and notice how it places it in that values box for me. And we can see it's already summarizing the data for us. We don't see any calculations in here. There's a lot of calculations on the back end. But for right now, it's telling us the total sales, 1.73 million, which is pretty good. Well, what about the sales by month? I'll click on the month, or I can drag it into the rows. More than likely, if I click on it, it's going to put it into the rows anyway. And it does. So just by dragging those 2 fields, we can answer questions. So what were the grand total of all sales? What were the sales for each month? So January, 158,198. And we can even sort this if we wanted to kind of see which month had the highest sales, right? We can see that December here had the highest sales. Just by looking at the data, we can see November was pretty high as well. We had August, and we also had April. So those are the basics. We're able to create the pivot table. Now, sometimes we don't get the actual accounting or currency format in here. I already have it, so I'm good to go. But if you're not seeing that, we can change the number format. I'd simply need to right click on that number, make sure it's the grand total. And if I click on value field settings here, right here, I can click on the number format, and I can choose the accounting or currency format. I'll choose accounting, and I don't want any decimal places. I'll go ahead and press OK. I'll press OK again. And there we go. So here's our first quick visual. Well, let's go ahead and create a chart from this data set here. We want to create several charts. So to do that, once I click on the pivot table, we'll notice a pivot table analyze tab appears. From here, I can go ahead and insert a pivot chart to just kind of see the trend, to see the sales by month. So I'll go ahead and click on Pivot Chart. And here's the first one. It's giving me a simple clustered column chart that's showing me a column chart rather, showing me the sales by month. If I want it as a line chart, I can use this one. So different types of charts that I can use. It can be a pie chart. It can be a funnel. Some of these are not available. So let's see, I'll go for this bar chart here. I'll go ahead and press OK. Let's see, I'll give it a 3D type of vibe here. And there we go. So here is the quick pivot chart. So here's the data and here's the actual visual as well. For this pivot chart, I can make some quick adjustments to it. So if I click on the design tab here for the chart, I can choose a quick layout. That actually shows the numbers. So different types of layouts here that I can use. I can also change the colors that's being presented. And I can also go ahead and choose a quick style. I'll go ahead and choose a style number 9. And I'll go ahead and change the colors in here. And as far as the layout, let's see, I'll go for, now this is interesting. It's not showing all of my months in here. So let's see, I'll go back to the original. Yeah, this is really weird. Let's see what happened here. There we go. So I can make it a little bigger and now I can see it. Well, that looks pretty good. So there is a quick insertion of a pivot table and creating a quick chart visual. So go ahead and insert your pivot table, create that chart visual. Feel free to give it a quick layout, change the colors, change the style, and come right back. Now that we have our first visual, I want to go ahead and answer another question here on my data set. Let's see if there's a correlation between performance and sales. Now, I'm going to give this pivot chart a name. So I'll call this sales by month. And I'm going to make a copy of this pivot chart. So I'm going to right click on it and I'll copy it to the clipboard. And I'm going to paste this down here as a picture. I'm pasting it as a picture because once I start to reshape the pivot table or move things around, the pivot chart is directly connected to our pivot table. So if I make any changes, it's going to update right away. So for example, if I want to focus on, let's say, sales by month based on employee performance, we can see the pivot chart has updated based on these conditions that I have established here. So by copying and pasting it as a picture, I'm basically locking in that particular image or that pivot chart. Okay, so let's see if there's a correlation between employee performance and sales. Let's see if that directly impacts sales. All right, so I need to change this pivot chart. Right now, it's not really giving me a good idea if there's because the values are different. We have on the scale of 1 to 5 compared to, up to 100 and almost 200,000. So we need to be able to display values on one axis for the sales and another axis for the rating. Right? So this will be 1 to 4. And this will be up to 200K. So for that, we need a combo chart. So I'm going to change the chart type. Move my chart over here, make it a little bigger. I'll click on the design tab here for the chart, and I'm going to change the chart type. Now at the bottom, I have combo charts. So I'm going to choose a combo chart. And up here at the top, I have some quick combo charts that I can use. Again, these are recommended charts. So if I click on that second one, this one looks like what I'm looking for. We can clearly see the values. If we follow the blue to the axis on the right, and we follow the orange to the axis on the left. That looks good. I'll go ahead and press OK. Let's see what this looks like. This actually gave me the line. It previewed that I was going to get a column, but this actually works better anyway. So it gives me the line here. I'm going to change the style so I can see it a little better. I'll change it to style number 6. There we go. That looks really good. And I'll go ahead and make this bigger as well. So we can take a look at this and we can see, well, is there a correlation between sales and employee performance? And if we take a look, we can kind of see that there is, right? If we just kind of follow the trend here, we can see that there's consistency here. A little bit of inconsistency here though. But if we kind of just follow it, we can see if we're just to shift this over to the right a little bit, we can see it almost matches here. So there is some type of direct correlation between sales and employee performance. So I'll go ahead and give this a title here. And let's see, what do I want to call this? I'll just go ahead and say, let's say performance impact. Performance impact on sales. And there we go. So that's another quick visual and it tells a really good story here. I can change the layout. Maybe I don't need to see the other details over there. Let's see if there's another layout that kind of gives a better. Yeah, I like this one better. I'll go for layout number 3. I can see more clearly my line here. I'll go ahead and copy this one as well, and I'll paste that as a picture. So far so good. We have 2 quick visuals from the data set. One is very basic, just sales by month. The second one here is showing a nice correlation between employee performance and impact on sales. So go ahead and create that visual and come right back. Okay, let's take a little detour here. I'm going to go back to the report and let's see if we can gain some insights in terms of correlations or any other type of useful insights here. So from the Home tab, I'll go ahead and click on the Analyze Data here. Now let's see if we can discover any more insights into this data set. Right. So let's see if I scroll down here. So again, we can ask questions, percentage of total new clients for each month. So this is a quick pivot chart that we can insert. So I'll go ahead and insert that. And there we go. Let's see if this makes sense. So we can see December, we had a higher percentage of, so this is a percentage of the actual total, which is pretty cool. Right? So a quick pivot table and a pivot chart just by using the Analyze Data tab here. So this is pretty nice. I'll go ahead and add this one to my other sheet here. I'll just put all my charts on here. So this will be a picture as well. All right, so looking pretty good so far. I'll go back to my custom report and let's see what other visuals I can get in here. Okay, so this one is, let's see, clients and sales by month. That's pretty useful as well. And let's see, here's a correlation between sales and client retention by month. That could be useful as well. So we can simply just go ahead and insert it. But let's see. There's another one in here. Here is kind of the same. I'll click on Show All 16 Results. And here's a quick insight. It says that it looks like there's a high correlation between client retention and employee performance. So that's interesting. So I can insert that one. Right. So I'll go ahead and insert that one there. And I'll go ahead and copy this one as well. So again, just some really nice visuals that we can either create manually or we can use that Analyze tab to gain some quick insights. So that's a really nice tool there. Let's see if we can gain one more. Looking for a correlation between retention and customer satisfaction. Let's see if there's one in here. Look at that, it's right here. Client retention and customer satisfaction. I'll go ahead and click on Insert Chart. And there we go. I'll also copy this and paste it to my sheet here, and I'm good to go. I'll go ahead and close the Analyze Data. And the only thing left to do here is just to kind of clean up my data, kind of organize my charts in here. Right, so I'll go ahead and do that, but I'll do that in just a little bit. Right now, we want to take a look at another feature of the pivot table. Now with the pivot table, we can filter data. So right now I have the months here in the rows. And so I have what's called a row label filter. So for example, if I just want to focus on the first quarter, I can simply choose January, February, and March and press OK. And here are the numbers just for January, February, and March. So that's one way to filter. I can also filter by dragging a value right here into the filters box. Right? So if I wanted to, I could instead drag the, let's see, I'll drag the month here into the filters box, right? And now I can filter by month right here if I want to. So it's a simple filter. It shows up here on that top row. And I can click on this filter and I can just focus on, let's say, March. So the pivot table automatically recalculates, reshapes, so it pivots to show the data that we're looking for. So we have those filters that we can use. As long as we have a value in the columns and or the rows, we can always use those filters as well. I'm going to clear that filter. So I'll just go back and make sure I have all of my items selected. I'm going to place the months back into the rows here as well. And I'm going to remove the employee performance. So I just want to focus on the sales by month. Another way to do that, another way to filter the pivot table, if I click on the pivot table Analyze tab, I can insert what's called a slicer. And this will allow me to insert a slicer or two. And I can click on buttons on the slicer. And that will allow me to filter the table to show the data that I want to show. So I'll click on Insert Slicer here. And I just want one for the month. And I'll go ahead and click OK. So here's my slicer. Here are my 12 months. So if I just want to focus on March, if I click on March, it's only showing the data for March. Now, I have a lot of months in here, so I may want to change the amount of columns. So I'll go for 3 columns. And now I can resize my slicer. So just like a dashboard in your car. So now it's a little easier for me to work with the data. If I want to select multiple items, I can hold down the Control key. So let's say I want April, May, and June. So here are the grand totals for April, May, and June. So quarter 2. Right. Here's quarter 3. And then finally, here are the values for quarter 4. Right. So that is the slicer tool. So pretty nice tool to be able to filter the pivot table and ask questions about the table as well. We can even change the color of the slicer if we want to. On the top right of the slicer, we have the multi-select tool. So this allows us to select multiple. They don't have to be consecutive. And we also have the clear filter icon on the top right. So if I click here, that resets the filters on the actual table. So we are good to go. Right? So that's just different ways that we can gain insights into our data. Pivot table is a very powerful tool. It does all the work for us. We just need to simply ask the questions about our data set and we're good to go. So that concludes part 4. Go ahead and use those different tools and go ahead and set up your chart visuals so that you can make a little dashboard and tell a nice story about your data set. Welcome to part 5. In part 5, we'll take a look at how we can protect data in Excel. We'll start off by taking a look at the data validation tool, which allows us to use in-cell dropdowns for our data. And then we will take a look at different ways that we can protect our workbook. Let's go ahead and open up file number 5. So what are we looking at here? Here's our course registration for 2025. We want to keep it simple. We want to be able to share this Excel file with others so that they can fill out the information. So in column A, we need to enter the name of the employee, the corresponding department, the course that they want to take, and they can choose several courses. And they need to enter the priority in here. I already have the in-cell dropdowns for column D. So this will either be your first, your second, or your third choice. So on the right, we have some guidelines, just some little bit of literature to help our employees to get the most out of the trainings, right? So preparation, participation, feedback and improvement, and following up as well. We've made room here for about 200 or so registrations. So let's take a look. This is a table. You can see once we scroll beyond that header row, we can see the headers are appearing in the columns here as well. So instead of entering or typing the employee name in here, what we want to be able to do is to be able to choose from a list. So on the second worksheet tab here, we have a few lists. Let's take a look there. So we have a list of departments in here. So we have about 7 departments from admin to technology. Here are the different course offerings. Right. So 8 different course offerings in here. We have different locations. And we also have a long list of employees here. So we have exactly 100 employees. So what we want to do is to be able to make these options accessible from a drop-down list of items. So let's take care of the first one. I'll click back here on my registration form. And as far as the employee, I want to go ahead and provide some in-cell dropdowns. So the first step is to select all the cells that I want to provide those in-cell dropdowns to. So I'll go down to row 220. Right. So I can do that. And if I click on the data tab, I have what's called data validation. So this will allow us to basically select from a drop-down list that you specify. Okay. So I'll go ahead and click on there. And so the first thing is, what do I want to allow? So right now we're allowing any value to be placed in that cell. Well, that's not what I want. I'll go ahead and choose list. So I want to be able to choose from a list of values. And we can see it's already going to provide the in-cell dropdown for us. So we just need to go ahead and identify the source. So where's the list that we want to provide or include on the in-cell dropdown? We can type the names in here and separate them with commas, but that's very, very long. When we see this up arrow here, this reminds us that we can refer to a cell or a range of cells. So I'll go ahead and click here and I'll head back over to my list and I am going to choose all of these names. And then I'll go back and just press OK. So it's on the lists worksheet tab from cell G2 down through G101. I'll go ahead and press OK. And now you can see each of these cells has the employee in here. So I can simply just choose the employee. I don't have to worry about spelling the name incorrectly or memorizing 100 employee names. All right, so we can do that. I'll go ahead and add a few here. So I'll just add about 4. And there we go. So that's how we can create in-cell dropdowns. So go ahead and create some in-cell dropdowns for column A. I'll go ahead and do the same for the department and the course. So I'll go ahead and do that now, actually. Let's see if I can go down. I'll go ahead and add the data validation here for this one as well. So this will be the department. So again, list. My source is going to be the corresponding departments here. So I'll choose these departments. I'll press OK. Good to go. I'll do the same thing for the course. This is a table, so I can click on that first cell and press Control-Shift down. It goes to the last row of the table. I'll click on data validation. Again, choose from a list. This one is going to be the course. And I'll go ahead and press OK. There we go. So now what I can do is I can say Patel is from the admin and looking for the cybersecurity fundamentals course. Right. Aisha is from customer service, looking for, let's say, effective communication skills. Akira is from HR and looking for leadership and management training. And Alessandro is from, let's say, quality assurance and looking for, let's see, time management and productivity. So mission accomplished, we're able to provide the in-cell dropdowns. Now we can just go ahead and specify whether this is the first, second, or third choice for each of our employees. Because remember, Aisha can also apply for another course. So Aisha is from customer service, and Aisha's second choice is going to be, well, first choice is going to be emotional intelligence. And there we go. So mission accomplished. We were able to provide in-cell dropdowns for our course registration, and we can click on any cell now and add the information. So go ahead and apply data validation to the employee, department, and course columns and come right back. Now that we have our course registration form all good to go, we want to prevent any changes from being made. So we only want to allow entry from, in this case, let's say cell A4 down to cell D220. So we do not want any entry. So we don't want whoever's filling out the form to change any of the important information over here. So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and basically lock all the cells on the worksheet except for A4 through D220, I believe it was. So we only want to allow entry here only. Right? So outside, you cannot make any changes. You can only view the data. So to do that, we need to talk about protecting a sheet. Now, if I right click on the sheet, we can see the protect and share option show up. So I'll go ahead and click on protect sheet. When you click on the protect sheet there, I'll go ahead and zoom in. You can see you can enter a password. So that's kind of the first thing you need to do. And then down on the bottom, you need to select what you want to allow users to be able to do. So in this case, I only want to allow whoever's using this worksheet to select the unlock cells. Right? So this one, I only want them to be able to select the unlock cells. They cannot select lock cells. They cannot make any other changes. So that's what I want to do. Now, if I do that, so let's see what happens. I'll just say protect sheet and I'll put a simple password in here. And you can only select unlock cells. I'll go ahead and press OK and let's see what happens here. Go ahead and put the password in again. And you can see I cannot select anywhere. It says the cell or chart you're trying to change is on a protected sheet. To make a change, unprotect the sheet, you might be requested to enter a password, and that's correct. So I did not lock any of these cells. So why is it that I cannot interact with any of these cells? Well, according to Excel, every cell on your worksheet is actually locked. So the locking does not come into effect until you protect the sheet. So by default, they're all locked. Well, let's see what happens. Let's see if this makes sense. I'll go ahead and unprotect the sheet. I'll put in my password. I'll press OK. And I'll click on a random cell. And let's take a look at the properties of this cell. So I'll click on the format here. And we can see right here that the cell is locked. Right? It says the cell is locked. I can't zoom in on it. But it says that the cell is locked. And it says you must turn on protect sheet in order for this feature to work. So I'm going to unlock these cells. Unlock all the cells from A4 down to D220. So I'll click on the format drop down here and I'm going to unlock those cells. So I can see that they're now unlocked. So now that they're locked, I'll go ahead and unlocked rather. I'm going to protect the sheet. I only want to allow the selection of unlocked cells. I'll put in my password, I'll press OK. I'll enter my password one more time and press OK. And there you go. So now I can go ahead and I can enter some more information in here. I'll go down here a little further. Mei Ling. And so Mei Ling can come in here and use the form. And we're good to go. If Mei Ling tries to make some changes over here to the right, maybe, try to sabotage the sheet. Cannot do that. Cannot interact. Can only make changes in the sandbox, if you will, that we've created. So that's how you can lock cells and prevent changes from being made in other cells on the actual workbook. So you have to first unlock the cells and then go ahead and protect the sheet. Now that a form is ready for data entry, it's time to go ahead and share the form with others so that they can go ahead and register for courses. Now, I do want to protect the information on my lists here. So I do have my list worksheet tab here, and we do have information on here. And these lists are driving the in-cell dropdowns. So I want to make sure that I protect them. So we can simply just go ahead and protect it. I've already protected it here. Go ahead and go through this again. So if I right click, I can go ahead and protect the sheet, and I don't want any changes to be made. So I'll make sure all these checkboxes are unselected. I'll press OK. I'll enter my password again, and I'm also going to hide it. So I'll right click on it. I'll go ahead and hide the list just in case someone figures out how to, unhide it. This mitigates any confusion. So we're good to go. So the next thing I need to do, I need to go ahead and share the file. So there's several options that I can use. If I want to share the file, I need to first upload it to the cloud. So I can upload it, save it to OneDrive, or I can save it to SharePoint. If you have not done so, you can click on the File tab, click on Save As, and that will share it to save it to either your OneDrive or your SharePoint. If I click on the Share here, it's going to upload it for me, and then I'll be able to open up the Share dialog. So I'll go ahead and click on Share. This will upload it to my OneDrive, and then I'll be able to share the actual document. So we can see it's uploading it to OneDrive for me. And we can see the autosave icon here. So it's been uploaded to OneDrive. Now I can go ahead and share this document. Now when you're sharing, you need to answer a few questions. Who are you sharing it with? What type of access do you want them to have? And of course, how do you want to share? So in terms of the who, I want to share it with, if I want to share it with an individual, I can enter their name right here in the email. So I'll go ahead and send it out to Adele. In terms of what type of access do I want Adele to have, I have three options. Adele can make changes, or Adele can only view and not make changes, or Adele can view but not download. I do want Adele to be able to make changes, so I'll choose the edit option here. And I'll just enter a quick message in here. I'll just say, please register. I'm good to go. I can click send, or if I want to send this out to a larger audience, I can copy the link and use another messaging platform like Zoom or Teams and send out the link to a larger group of individuals. Right? If I click on the link settings here, there's some additional options in here. So if I want to encrypt this document with the password, I can go ahead and do that. I can also go ahead and set the expiration date, right? So the link will expire after a certain amount of days, but I'm good to go. Right? I'll go ahead and click on send. And that's it. So Adele is going to receive an email, and that email will have the link to the file. I'll bring that mailbox over here. So here is the email that Adele receives. It says you've been invited to edit a file. And here it is. So Adele can click on open right here. This will open up the file online, and Adele will be able to edit and make changes to the file as well. So I'll go ahead and click on open here. And I'll go back to Excel. And let's see, I can see Adele is here, right? So I can see who's in the file, and I can see if they're starting to enter any information in here as well. So mission accomplished. We're able to protect the cells, protect the workbook, and protect the worksheet here as well. Right? So we are good to go. Congratulations on completing the course. You've learned how to manage an Excel table, how to create chart visuals, how to use a few tools like text to columns and data consolidation. We're able to analyze data in a pivot table, and we learn different ways to protect and share a workbook as well. Until next time.